What's up, guys? Sub-Zero here, back for another VOD review. Today, doing another VOD review from the final cup in the Americas. This, like all the cups, decides who goes to Worlds, decides who's making it into, the second week of regionals, all this kind of stuff, which decides who's going to be back in the TFT Pro Circuit next set. So it's a hugely consequential tournament, and this was a crazy final lobby. I mean, look at this final 8. Setsuko, Cambly, CMB9, Ladder Slayer, Brahu, Dish Soap, Marcel P, and of course, the person that we are watching here, K3 Soju, baby. Soju won one of the earlier cups. This set is the highest pro points player in all of the Americas region, which means even if he hadn't won that first cup, he would be guaranteed a world slot. And spoiler alert, he won this cup as well. So, I mean, he's just going on a run similar to what Wei Iverson did last set. This guy, I mean, people have been sleeping on him for long, but I mean, he's actually locked the heck in this set and, I mean, done amazingly. And this game, I think, was just such an interesting game. So we start off 3 just pretty untakeable augments here. Shield Maiden, Lunch Money. I mean, Shield Maiden can be okay, but not really in this spot here. Roll into another pretty bad option here, and we are seeing some scary options out of other people here. Setsuko here, who almost has an Anima opener, also has this kind of like really nice Arbiter opener that can end up feeding the thingy, the Hex here. Tower gets revealed for Soju, which is really the only acceptable option. Silver Spoon's not even great here without that many upgrades. So it is just going to be a tower pickup here for K3. And just from here, just from the start, we pick up a 4th Veigar from just our shop. And I think already cogs are turning a bit in Soju's mind here, and he's considering actually playing quite hard around this Veigar here. We have this 3 Meeple opener, which is another opener that, like, I think a lot of people are not jumping out of bed to play like, oh yeah, I can play a Meeple opener, yippee, I can play around all this kind of stuff. Most people would really not even consider this opener that highly, but Soju, he has the Veigar too. He also has 2 good units to play in here, either the Aatrox or the Lulu here, opts to hold the Aatrox. I think this makes a lot more sense, especially because we have the tower here, and protecting that tower is going to be really nice. But yeah, you can see, literally 2-2 here, and already 2-1 he was thinking about it. We are locking in on this being a vertical Meeple game, and for context of where the tournament is at this point, everybody in this lobby, including Soju, is in check with the exception of Ladder Slayer and Dish Soap. So if any of those 6 players win this lobby, Soju included, they win the entire tournament here. Now, Soju is going to do a very Soju thing here, and he is going to opt to actually not play his strongest sport here in order to make 20 gold. I like this play a lot, just because we're already on a 2-loss. It's very reasonable for us to like 5-loss this game. If we don't 5-loss, if we just happen to randomly win this fight, that's also not the end of the world. And yeah, wow, I really love this play, actually. There's a lot of nuance here. Because we won this fight, we opted to actually hold the Aatrox, because now we're thinking, honestly, we can play for streak. But had we lost this fight, we would have actually sold the Aatrox and leaned into that loss streak. I think this is just such a smart way to think about win streaking and lose streaking here. Mystery Loot is almost always the option, unless you have a really good reason not to take it, and we can just take the Gnasher's Tooth for the Veigar here. A little bit sad to have the Gnasher's Tooth built before the JG. Gnasher's JG is just natural BIS onto this Veigar unit. It's just very, very good to get him casting a lot. So we do definitely want to go for that, but not the end of the world that we don't have the JG yet in this spot here. Get our 4 rolls off of our Thresh Boon, and we opt to actually roll there, find the list 2, and then we level. This is another very context-dependent decision, saying, I'd really like to pick up some extra Veigars on the way to 7 Meeple, because printing a Veigar 3, every Meeple, every Veigar that I find is -1 round that I have to sit and wait to print. But also, we roll and we just hit the list 2, and actually, it's just enough to win this fight. I mean, just actual genius mode from Dish Soap here. I mean, he also has a small possibility of this being a list Veigar reroll game and actually rolling a lot on 5. The only downside is we already leveled up, so we're not going to be able to roll anymore on 4. But, I mean, we have this 5 Lissandras, right? 5 Lissandras, 4 Veigars, so you could actually consider rolling for it. And this is what he's doing. He's looking at Planner and trying to figure it out here. Even slams the tier on the list. Once you get that 3 streak, it would be huge to keep this here. Also, Tower v Tower action here versus Dish Soap, and I think we're just barely going to lose out. Yeah, very sad. And with that loss, he's actually going to sell off the extra Lissandras, though he does find another one. It's because, this is another really smart idea. We wanted to hold this Akali, right? Because we have the Nashor's Tooth here, so he was thinking about holding the Akali to get spell crit in for Veigar in case we do miss on the Jeweled Gauntlet. We now are getting an item anvil, so it's pretty likely we'll be able to get to it, but maybe not. And also, so many Lissandras. We'd actually low-key have natural Lissandra 3 this game, but all good. We can pop this anvil here, look for our JG. You can get Shepherd in, which is a very nice, easy in on this board here, and then, yeah, just sell everything else here. Low-key, we should have popped Anvil just to make sure that we're going to be able to get to this JG. But in either case, I mean, Shepherd is amazing on these early boards. It's just an extra dude on your board and extra AP on this Veigar who really, really wants it because we have all of this crit, all of this extra mana that we're getting. So the one thing that this Veigar needs is AP. All right, going into second augment here. We have no econ augment. We wouldn't mind picking one up. This is also a pretty cheap board, so you could get away with just doing triple combat here. I mean, high voltage is okay. Just guarantee your MR shred. I don't hate it. Constructor Companion is something to think about here. And he does actually really look at Constructor Companion here, but then he does see Charge Transfer as well, which is a very solid Veigar augment. And yeah, he is going to change his mind at the last second there. Was he going to take Constructor Companion? The nice thing about Constructor Companion is you can obviously just take the random Veigar 3. You can also just take random Poppy 3 if you find it, and either one you can play for pretty nicely. I mean, he could even have taken Lissandra 3 from Constructor Companion and tried to play more of a vertical Darkstar game. The other nice thing is, we know we're in check in this game right here, and so taking double combat does give us that higher cap. Means that as we get later in the game, we have good odds of being able to cap high enough to potentially win the lobby, pick up the Poppy 2, and have an extra couple of Veigars here. So we are in a pretty nice spot to print the Veigar 3. Only gonna have to wait 4 rounds to print it though. We're still quite far from the rest of our Meeples. He opts to not hold the Meeples in that last shop there, just because once again this Soju guy loves making econ, and I mean, to his credit, making econ is a very good thing to do in TFT. So we're not going to have those just yet, but he trusts that we'll be able to find them on level 7 or level 8. And I mean, it's pretty likely that you can find, one Fizz, one Gnar. I don't think it's going to be the end of the world that we skip those guys. All right, going to Carousel here. Once again, Mystery Loot almost never feels bad. I mean, he's thinking that he thinks for a second about Starcrossed upgrade, but I think Mystery Loot's just so good. There's actually an interesting choice here. I think he would have liked to make a Void Staff here. Shojin is fine to get Veigar just casting. It's a little awkward just because, this is almost like too much mana gen, the Nashors and the Shojin, but an item's an item, and getting, 3 items to this Veigar that is not too far off of being a Veigar 3, especially as we get to our 6th Veigar, is big here. Also, our Thresh boon gives us a second dummy here. Don't talk to me or my son ever again. It does not, wait, it doesn't work, right? This isn't, no, yeah. I don't know why this dummy, it has this little effect on it. It almost looks like it's zapping, but the second dummy does not zap. It should not, at least, unless something very strange is going on here. But it does have that weird effect under it, which almost makes me think maybe that's just an effect from something else. Maybe that's what, do all your units look like that when the Meeple, or not the Meeple, but the Be and Buy-in casts? Maybe, but I don't think so. All right, gonna level up to 7 here. A little poor in this spot because, once again, we did not take a single econ augment this entire game. But like I talked about earlier, it's not that bad to be poor in this line because you have a very cheap board that you're going to be playing later. You really need to find one Rammus, one Corki to really get going. And, obviously Rammus 2 is going to be your main frontline later, but you're not playing very many 4-costs on this board. You're going to play for the Veigar 3, and each time you print a Veigar, you're also getting extra gold from that. So Soju knows, we don't really have a need to take an econ augment here. The one thing he does have a need for is going back and finding those Meeple units. Hopefully he can find some of them. Does pick up Bow here, which could eventually, I mean, you could make another Nash, but then Shojin has to move over, but this is probably your best item setup here. It's just the second Shojin is quite awkward here, and the Gargoyle is a great item for Rammus, though it's a little awkward. And so yeah, he's just gonna make the Sunfire here and just make good slams, get tank items done, give us the heal cut there that we need. And so yeah, we're just gonna make good enough slams rather than trying to greed for BIS, which is also something that Soju is very good at. Saw him slam an IE on Samira earlier, and everyone of course is like, what? IE Samira, isn't that thing bugged? Also, if you didn't know, IE Samira is bugged. Spell crit on her does not work as it should. She basically, the more crit she has, the less chance she has to crit. It's that every single TFT set we get this bug for some reason. All right, last augment here. Could you ever consider a BPPP, a booster pack plus here? I once again would be interested in seeing a a tank, or not necessarily a tank augment, but a combat augment here. But I think, yeah, Soju might just grab booster packs so that he can get to his board here. And yeah, that's what he's thinking, is that there's good odds that this can get us. I mean, the best high roll obviously would be the Bard, but we really just want to have the gold so that we can hit our 7 Meeple here, and we are going to roll down looking for it. We find another Poppy, we don't really care for that. Just want to find our last few Meeple. Oh, he actually rolls past the Shen there, saying, I'm not actually going to have space for it. So yeah, he fits 5 Meeple in on this board, but he's still missing his last Meeple here. Does not have a Corki, or obviously a Bard would have been the Giga High roll. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess Shen does never really fit on this board. Nice of Soju to kind of realize that quickly. That, I mean, because you have the 2 Bastions on this board in Meeple, you're never really going to fit a 3rd Bastion, never going to reach 4 Bastion. So yeah, it never actually fits on the board. Really heads up play as well. He's not going to opt to make Fizz 2. He says that there's no reason to look for Fizz, right? Fizz 1, Fizz 2, no diff. Last second finds a Bard. It was taking so long, but we do actually get the godsend from Mortog at the last moment. It was looking so rough. We get this Bard here. The downside is he had to downgrade a lot of random stuff. Doesn't have this like Fizz 2 that he would have liked to have. He's also completely broke in this spot here. So we lost a lot of tempo having to do this, but you can see the Veigar does a lot of work, and that was just Veigar 2. And next round, we're going into Veigar 3 here. Roll the Bone seems like a great pickup here. Need the gold here, and I wouldn't feel bad about, yep, just finishing a Rammus item here. He's going to make, or actually, no, he's taking this for Void Staff, right? Needs the MR Shred on this board, which makes a lot of sense. It's probably going to move over to Bard here. I don't think we really need that to sit onto the Lysandra for the entire game. And yeah, he's going to make the Void Staff here, remove it, put it onto the Bard. Bada bing, bada boom. Also, check this out. It's looking like he's actually going to he's going to go for the Cho'Gath print here rather than try to stack up the Rammus print. He's saying, I would rather have the just raw econ. I'm pretty confident that I can make it to Rammus. This guy, I don't know if there is even a Corki player in this lobby. This guy is pretty uncontested these days. Corki is just seen less and less play. Oh yeah, Marcel is playing Corki, so he's one-way contested, but he's actually saying, I would rather just, yeah, print this Cho'Gath every single round, get the gold from that, and use that to push 9. That's the max cap that I can play for here. I also have these 2 dummies on this board, so do I even really, I mean, we'd obviously love a Rammus too. It's so much extra frontline, but it's not the end of the world if we don't find it. And yeah, he is scouting Marcel, who, Marcel had a crazy game, had a huge cash out this game, got the Battle Bunny crossbow, and is playing a Corki board with BBC on it. So his board is obviously very strong, but Marcel's story, you guys will see. Marcel's story is crazy this game. All right, need some Rammus items here, and he does kind of get it in this Declaw here. Ugh, I guess, I mean, it must be Declaw Gunblade, right? I mean, I don't love it, but it's an item for Rammus and another item for one of our backliners, and allows us to just take this and not have to worry too long. He's going to wait for the Thresh print here, though. Really smart. You are about to get a Thresh item here. Well, potentially, if you roll a 6, you can get an item here on 5-1, and he does, and it's, oh my god, it still doesn't allow him to actually slam any crazy tank item here, so I guess we're just going to make it, he's actually going to make the Gunblade still. And leave the tier open. I thought it'd be Shojin for Bard just to get him casting. Oh, and we do get wrapped on by this ribbon here. I mean, looking like we're gonna get clear this fight anyway. This is Ladder Slayers. 2 Space Groups spat board, by the way, branching out. And then he got another one. Where did he get the other one from? Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I don't actually know. Somebody let me know in the comments where Ladder Slayer got that second Space Group emblem from. Oh, I guess it was a Thresh Boon, right? Can that even happen? I don't think Thresh Boon can give a spat, but I don't know where else it would have come from. I'm actually very confused now that I think about it, because yeah, with these augments, golden item remover and 4 gold, where did he get it, the second one from? In either case, he's got it, which is pretty darn good. We're also going to rotate into another board actually with 2 Space Group spats on it, which is just, I mean, hey, that is this patch in a nutshell for you. Is all of the Space Group players just rotating and doing insane work. I mean, I guess if you think about it, right? Well, let's look at Soju's rolldown first, and then I can give the theory on why he's making this game plan here of not actually going for the Corki print. We're going to roll down the Karma, great, +1 on this board, Darkstar plus Voyager. So if you think about it, a Corki print, or a 4-cost print, a Rammus print here, over 4 rounds is actually not much gold. You don't actually get much gold from doing that. What you get is the consistency of printing your 2-star 4 cost, but you actually lose out on a lot of gold doing this. Every single round that we're printing this here, we're getting more gold than we would actually get when we print our 4 costs. So this is actually the much higher gold option. And if Soju's confident that he can find Rammus 2 on level 9 because it's only one-way contested, then this actually makes a lot of sense. And yeah, wow, he's even gonna find Bard 2 on the roll down here. Does actually have to remove her this. Oh, that's actually so tragic here. He needs to remove her the Bard this round to get the Sona thingy, but does not get it in time here, which is a little tragic here. And actually, yeah, has to downgrade out of Karma on this board here. This is the fight that goes crazy, though. Marcel P looking like he was going to win the lobby, and Soju's board clears him there. I mean, the Veigar plus the Bard 2 just do so much work, and that wasn't even a strong version of Soju's board. Once again, he was playing that weird random setup where he was... He was like half pivot on his board, but he manages to win the fight. I mean, beautiful half pivot from Soju. Honestly, he doesn't get everything down in time, but enough to beat Marcel, and that actually saves the lobby. I mean, had he messed up that pivot very slightly, that pivot out of 7 Meeple, he would have... I mean, Marcel probably would have won this game. He probably would have been able to stabilize, and this tournament would have ended here with Marcel being the victor. So, I mean... Shout out to Shoju for the APM actually realizing, the second that we hit our board, we're going to pivot out of 7 Meeple because 7 Meeple is really just an econ trait. And we are going to, play the strongest board here. We even get Shepherd in onto the board very nicely. Prince the Dragon here, by the way, which we can field over this extra Sona here. Now we're going to roll down for, I guess, Sona 2. I mean... We have the free rerolls. Ooh, he's actually going to judge that the Dragon is worse than Rost here. I think I do agree with this. Rost is so much stats on this board. It's a 6 trait Rost. The Armor Namar is also crazy good on a Meeple board because every Meeple is plus 400 HP. Get a bunch of Armor Namar on top of that. It's amazing. So I think this makes a lot of sense. Here is the problem is that Setsuko's board is disgustingly capped, and so we can't actually win the lobby is the problem here. Setsuko just reached this insanely strong 5-cost board. I mean, his board is actually just completely insane. So all we can do is try to beat Ladder Slayer here. Opts for the Dragon onto the board. He's like, okay, you know what? I got to try something here. Swaps the Dragon over. Maybe he's trying to get some kind of like Dragon Wrap here. We'll see. This is Ladder Slayer, by the way, the double Space Groove board as well, which is just disgusting. And we are going to get a lot of damage from the Veigar, but not enough to win. Going to take the loss here. Setsuko's going to lose as well. And this did send it to a game 7 actually, which is crazy. But I mean, it makes, I mean, this was just the double Space Groove spat. I mean, this game was this tourney in this entire patch in a nutshell, right? Soju cooks really hard on this cool Veigar idea. Setsuko has a Radiant Guinsoo on his Vex, and it loses to Space Groove. GG, Space Groove. Hey, look, it'll get nerfed on the patch on Wednesday, so if you guys hate Space Groove, you just have to wait a couple of days. But I hope you guys love this board that Soju played this game. I thought it was really interesting, and if you did, please like the video. Comment down below, what do you think about this comp? What do you think about the tournament? This was a crazy final day. If you guys missed it, definitely go check out the VOD on any of these players' streams. I mean, Soju, literally any of them, you can't go wrong with. What else? Comment down below, subscribe, like, Twitch down below, Metafy down below, and that's pretty much it. All right, I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.